I love this game because there's nothing else I think that demonstrates the potential for communication like this game does. Ultimately, did it matter if we understood what the object was that the other person was giving? What I noticed actually as the person from the outside that was watching is that both of your attention were really on each other and what you guys were doing. It was a free giving attention. There was interest, there was curiosity. There was not necessarily an agenda of having to push my way. I mean, we were wanting to be detailed in our communication. And there was a joy in being received. And there was also joy in giving.
Mm-hmm.
There's an exchange that happens. And the attunement process that I observed also as the care in which you slow down to really show what it was that you were trying to give versus rushing over it, and the offering, and then the person receiving it and taking the time to acknowledge what was given.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
These are all the components that make for connected communication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we start there in mindful communication. We start with what is our intention for communicating with another? And what is possible when the container for the communication is safe, is light, has interest? What's possible is deep connection without a whole lot of effort,
Mm-hmm.
without even the use of words.
Mm-hmm.
Our nonverbal communication is as if not more important than what the words are that are coming out of our mouths.
Right.
And so if we want to engage in mindful communication, we start with the intention. What are we wanting from this exchange?
Mm-hmm.
If we're following the ethics of non-harm, what we're wanting is well-being. What we're wanting is understanding, connection, to be understood and also to understand the other, so that we can feel that we have a shared reality and that there is no separateness. If we use that as our intention and we are clear about that, just like when you sit down to meditate, I make an intention that I want to maybe focus on a particular thing, or maybe my intention is the attitude, whatever that is. Anytime I wander away from that and I wake up and remember, I come back to that intention. Because conversations can become volatile.
Yeah.
And we might go sideways from what our intention is. But if we can remember, even in a moment of difficulty or conflict, that on the ultimate, what I really want is I want to understand what this person is going through and I want to be able to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
If we have that attitude, the conversation, even if it goes sideways, will stay within that realm. And so in order for us to remember or to come back, there's got to be presence. So the foundation for mindful communication is presence.
Right.
And this is very challenging to do when we are in dialogue with another, because there's so much going on. We're trying to understand what's going on with them. We're already thinking about what we're going to say next. It's this ping pong that happens very quickly that we are trying to maneuver in a seamless way. And all of that, we're still getting emotional responses that we're trying to manage. The other person's getting emotional responses, and we want to make sure we're not sending off the wrong messages, right? There's a lot going on. So we start with presence. So how can we be present in communication? Well, I want us to take a moment right now to discover what can be an anchor that you come back to when you're in conversation. And so what I mean by anchor is, where can you keep half of your attention while you're in conversation? So drop into the body right now. You don't have to close your eyes or anything. You can if you want. Nothing special. Just drop in. Feel the weight of your body. Connect with the breathing. And let your awareness land on some aspect of your physical, somatic experience that feels easy and available. So for me, for example, right now, it's my feet because I'm standing. I can feel the entirety of the weight distributed, the pressure. Find within your body what's an easy place to stay connected to. And when you found it, open your eyes and look up so I know that you're there. Yeah? You good? Okay. So I'm going to have you both in dialogue. And the prompt, I'll give you a prompt. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to interrupt you with a bell every 30 seconds. When you hear the bell, I want you to stop what you're doing. I want you to close your eyes, reconnect. Okay? And then I'll ring the bell again, and then you just continue wherever you left off. I'll walk you through that also as we go through. And maybe the prompt will be, what are your tendencies around communication? Okay, it's just an open-ended question. What are your tendencies around communication? So a couple of things that happen when we are in communication, and I feel like this segment was enough for you to witness. We become identified with what we're saying.
Aha. Aha.
We become identified with the content. That's the hook.
Yes.
And when we're identified with the content, we are no longer mindful.
Yeah.
Because we've merged.
Yes.
And when we're identified with the content, we will defend. We will need to be right or seen or heard.
God, yes.
And David, what was perfect, actually, in this demo, is that you showed the opposite. That when you start to become embodied, it's almost like the ability to communicate, that process gets interfered with. And it's not a negative thing. It's a phenomena that can happen. And all of a sudden you were just with the state. And that's an interesting place to be in too. So again, I'm not saying there's a correct way. We all have our unique configurations. But the idea of bringing mindfulness into communication patterns is to bring consciousness into all of these myriads of possibilities of how to be in communication.